A very good Pan-African morning to you, all of viewers across the continent and wherever you're watching us from around the world. We are happy to be with you this Wednesday morning. Here's hoping you're having a fantastic morning as we are in your company. I'm Audrey Chimwanda-Thwala taking you through all the news and updates. But at this particular juncture, it is Wednesday, and you know we have our health coach. Maybe I need a speech coach at this moment. Our health coach is in studio, Mr. Ephraim Marobela, and he wants to talk to us about a subject that I know is very close to most of us hearts. Or maybe it's close to our fridges, and that is the issue of alcohol. Mr. Marobela, welcome to Pan-African Morning. We always love having you here, of course, as you always keep us in check with what we're supposed to do to make sure that this vehicle that we carry through life is in good condition.
Good morning, Sis Audrey, and good morning to the viewers at home and wherever they are. As you said today, as you know, that the festive season is already upon us. You've seen in the malls, in the shops, adverts going up, or maybe different types of people marketing different types of products. Mm-hmm. One of the products that is so everywhere is alcohol adverts. And you're gonna be seeing lots and lots of them in newspapers, TVs, social media, everywhere. Mm. What I want to do, we want to make it a point that we empower people to understand what is this thing doing to human life.
Well, a lot of people think it gives them great joy, because once they have a couple of drinks, you see that their mood starts to change, they're more happier, they're more bubblier, and that's the part of alcohol they seem to want to concentrate on. But of course, we know that there are other repercussions outside of that. As
we know, or as maybe some of us might not know, alcohol is one of the most accessible drug in the world. Another thing is the following. People need to understand, we've got almost 7.8 billion people in the world. About 80% of them have already tasted or have already experienced with alcohol. Because of its easily accessibility. It's one of the glorified drugs in the world. And if you look at the challenges it brings to human life, it's one of the things that I would like us to look at.
Yes.
As the festive season is already coming up, we will see the rate of increases of deaths due to road accidents. And that is something that people like to ignore and make us feel like, you know what, it's not due to that. I don't know anyone who has never experienced, a challenge where he's never lost a loved one, or a family member, or a colleague, or, a partner, due to that particular problem. And it's one of the things that is very sad that even now, the challenges that it brings, it also increases the workload for the already overworked medical staff, and it affects everybody. So that's why we need to be in a position where we get empowered of understanding this drug. Yeah. Because it is a drug. And I know that some people, when you talk about it, they are so sensitive to that. But if you look at what is happening, you'll realize that, it's not surprising if you understand what drugs do to people. Yeah, I think that's the addiction part of it that you speak about. Yes. Now let's talk about what it does to the system that we may not be aware of, outside of thinking that it just makes us feel happy. Yes. And the very painful hangover that a lot of people experience the day after, of course. The hangover is one minor thing that alcohol causes you. The thing that we like to make it a point, focus on is that the dangers it brings to the society. Okay. because that is one of the things that people are trying at the level best to ignore or maybe shy away from. However, it's one of the things that we need to face head on. Because now look at the kids starting at a very tender age. Look at the families that are broken up. Look at the people that have lost their lives. Look at the people that have lost their jobs. Look at the families that are broken up, right? Now, if you look at the hangover, it's one of the symptoms that showcase how much people abuse it. Because most people abuse it. And most people, no one will ever tell you that, no, I drink properly. Everybody, not everybody will tell you that they're drinking properly. Nobody will say, no, I'm abusing alcohol. But it's normal to hear that from people who are taking it, because that's what the drug does.
Yeah.
Nobody's taking drugs and accept that, okay, like I'm a drug addict.
Yeah.
So once people say that, anyone who's got a family member will say to you, yes, I am not a drug addict. Just accept that and know that these people need support.
Right. So to be clear, the conversation that we're having is about the social impact that alcoholism has.
Yes.
Okay. Statistics say South Africa is one of the, I think, top 3 countries in the world when it comes to alcohol consumption.
So that they don't get very upset, let's say they're in the top 10.
No,
people don't love the truth. So
yes,
once you minimize it, they say, oh, okay. But they are in the top 5.
But I suppose we need to face that that reality, because once we face the reality of a problem that could be endemic in the country, then that's the only way that we can sort it out. Because if we look it straight in the face to say we have a problem as a nation, what then do we do about it? But you know, when you see these adverts, and if you're above the legal limit that the bottle says you, or the box or whatever says you can drink it, people don't see a problem in drinking it. I mean, we have children that are so young, and with all the stress that people experience in life, a lot of people, they don't know how to deal with that stress, and the next thing they want is to say, oh, I'm stressed, I'm going to have a drink.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, before, we used to have people who are having challenges with alcohol who were far older. That was then. Sadly, now, that age has dropped drastically. In the earlier days, it was about 60 people, 60 years or so. People who started having serious challenges on their health due to the alcohol. However, now, there are people who are suffering with drug, that is alcohol, from the tender age of 18, 20-something, because of the accessibility of it. And another thing that happens is that because as parents, we drink so much that you don't even realize when the kids start to steal even the same alcohol that you say is for adults. Because kids don't learn by listening all the time. They learn by looking at people as adults, what they do, and they emulate them.
They do as they do, not as they say.
That's exactly what happens. But many people, what do? They don't accept that. And that is why, to showcase and prove that it's a drug, and that's one of the most easily accessible drug. That is why you find so many people, like, are consuming it like there's no, like there's no tomorrow. And why it is so easily accessible is because those companies that are manufacturing that, they're pushing numbers. And people think that, okay, like, because it's so much accessible, then it means it's fine, because it's everywhere. It doesn't mean just because it's everywhere, it means like it's sometimes it's healthy for you. It's not healthy for you. And that is why, like, if you look at the challenges that it brings, look at the accidents that are going to be coming up now. Thousands of people are going to lose their lives. Thousands.
That is unfortunately guaranteed in the next couple of months.
From now on, look at what's going to happen. Like now, every time, weekends, you'll see the accidents that are going to be happening. And worse, they've been happening every weekend, but this time, people, they go, it's so sad when you see people, like, celebrating as if, like, this body is rented. Because people, they want to make sure that they drink, like, this alcohol is coming to an end. Yes.
I'm just recalling what happened during the lockdown period when bottle stores, taverns, it was illegal to trade in alcohol. And while your supermarkets were open with food, you would see some of the youth and some of the elderly literally breaking down doors, committing crime to get that drug that they needed so badly. I mean, it really speaks to what you're saying, to say it's a drug and you become so addicted to it that you can't do anything without it, that you go to the extent of committing crime just to get a hold of your fix of alcohol.
You know, come to think of that, I mean, remember, Sis Audrey, at that time when people were not taking that alcohol the way it is open now, and at that time when it was said, on this particular day, alcohol will be sold, right, or will be reopened now. Do you recall the queues? Some people slept in those malls, waiting so that they can be the first ones
to get a hold of it. People spend thousands and thousands stocking up
just on them. Just in case that problem comes. And during that time, when it was not accessible, what happened? They used to combine different concoctions, and some people lost their lives trying to get that fix. And at the same time, people are still saying, no, it's not a drug. Sadly so, it's something that we need to do, that we empower people to understand. It's a drug.
And it's highly addictive.
Drugs, that's their nature. Drugs are there to make sure that you always want them. There are people who've lost their jobs, fired, because they couldn't function without alcohol. And it's something that, and you've got so many types. And you know, there's this, alcohol manufacturers, they're so clever. They've got ways in which they can make sure they increase their market share by coming up with innovative ways of creating it so that it can be like the cool thing, sort of cool thing. Sadly so, you can call it is cool, but I can tell you, the consequences you're gonna suffer alone. They won't be there to help you.
There's a lot of peer pressure in kids in school as well, growing up, to say it is the cool thing to do if you don't drink, if you don't smoke. But of course, speaking specifically about alcohol today, if a friend comes and offers you and you say no, they laugh at you, they make you feel like you don't know, what's up these days. So it comes from a very tender age, when kids are very impressionable in that they think something that can be damaging is a cool thing to be a part of.
Says Audrey, if you look at the family life, some of us are victims of having fathers who used to be,
alcoholics,
drug addicts, They used to take all this type of drugs. They used to smoke as well. It's one of the things that some of the things we'll be covering in our next, in our other episodes in the future. Yes. However, you look at the person during the week, right? Some people, they've got parents or uncles or fathers or mothers, whoever, who, when they haven't taken that drug, they behave sort of normally. Come weekend, when they start, having
the behavior becomes erratic.
They become
I know
opposite.
People that literally record someone once they've taken alcohol, because people are in denial. They tell you, when you're drunk, you do this and this and that, and they tell you, no, that can't be true. So they've taken to actually recording them when they're drunk, and then when they're now okay, they get to show them, to say, this was you last night when when you're drinking. This is how big your problem is, and it has gotten people to realize that they need help. And speaking of help, I think we should start getting into that part of the conversation.
Yes.
There's a lot of NGOs that help people that want the help, because I think it's a huge part of it. Yes. Wanting the help. You can't force someone clearly to look for help that they don't want. Correct?
Yes. One of our organization, our NPO, is called United Proactive Health. And alcohol is one of the things that we look at, because we're focusing on 4 elements. That's alcohol, drugs, obesity, and smoking. Those are the biggest killers in the world. So now we've got programs.
And speaking of obesity, yes, thank you so much for this book. I don't know if my director will be so kind as to zoom into this book. It's called Obesity Must Fall, written by Mr. Ephraim Marobela. Get right back to your ideal weight without any gym, any pills, shakes, capsules, and supplements. It is possible. Get back to your ideal weight and keep it off for life. That is the most important thing. Keep it. You know, it's so easy sometimes when you get your weight off, but it comes back quickly.
Yes.
But if you do it correctly, I suppose this is what this book will help us with. But going back to what you're talking about in terms of getting help.
In terms of getting help, what we have is that we've got programs. Our programs are twofold, Sis Audrey. You know, the way we do things most of the time, we are doing things the other way around. We wait for people to be so-called alcoholics. Only then we start saying, how can we help them to get off that? Our programs are twofold. We've got programs for people who have not yet started.
Who don't have the risk of starting.
What we do, we empower them. We put them on a program that's a minimum 6 to even a year or more, where we empower people to know all the holistic dangers of this alcohol. Because once people start knowing, the chances of them being victims or being induced or being lured into joining that, they become drastically minimized. As an example, myself, I've never once tasted alcohol in any form. That is why even now, when it comes to these other things that are called medication, I run away, because when you read some of those things that are in there, they're scary.
Yes, you're well educated on it. But I want to challenge you on this, Mr. Marobela.
Yes.
We have people that are drug addicts,
Yes.
with people that smoke, with people that drink alcohol, that know exactly the dangers of partaking in that. But because perhaps there's some emotional stress or other issues that they're dealing with, they still continue to take it. So I think in some cases it's not because people don't know. Some people do know, but they go ahead and take it anyway. I mean, I've never taken drugs in my life. I know how dangerous they can be, but who's to say, in life you don't come across these things when you're emotionally distressed?
Sis Audrey, thank you so much for asking that question, for saying that, because here's the thing about health coaching that people do not understand. Health coaching, you don't deal with the symptoms. We deal with the root cause and the underlying abundance of issues.
Yes.
If maybe like a person can sit down with you and says, Audrey, please tell me about your life, right? And you know that, okay, you're in a confined environment where you're talking to a professional like us, where we're going to make it a point of, okay, like we work with you, not one day, not 1 month, not 3 months, minimum 6 months to a year, even more, where we give you constant and never-ending support in dealing with all the challenges that you're having. Because we've got lots and lots of baggages in our lives that we do not have people that we trust, that we can be able to share those challenges with, who are empowered to help us on how to deal with those challenges. You tell your friend, all of a sudden that friend tells another friend. Tomorrow you tell a friend a secret that something happened to you that you don't like to be known by any other person. You tell them one day they're sitting, they're drinking their alcohol, they just pop it like that. Or sometimes
and that causes you more stress, that now people know my problem. Now I'm even more embarrassed.
Yes, and now you're already exposed, and things that are so sensitive to you, you don't want people to know about it. But because you told that person in confidence, now tomorrow that person tells another person, or something happened that you've got just a misunderstanding. Instead of a person dealing with that misunderstanding, already now he uses what you shared with them in confidence. Then from then use that against you. That is why you need to be careful when you do things. You need to be able to tell people that are professionals that you know what they understand, that what you share with them, you cannot share it with other people.
They also they have a code of ethics that they have to observe,
yes,
that does not allow them to divulge that information.
And another thing, that you tell a person who's not going to even help you. What's the point of telling a person who can't even help you? They can't even help themselves. How are they going to help you? They've got challenges. People that people are sitting with something that happened to them 50 years back, 30 years back, 20 years back, 10 years back. They're still angry even today.
True.
What does it do to your health? So now when coming back to that solution that we provide as United Proactive Health, it's not a once-off. It's a program. It's got stages. You've got processes that to deal with all these challenges. And because of that, we can monitor, we can evaluate the progress that people are achieving on a month to month. People start achieving the results from month 1, not from month 15. We don't guess, we don't thumbsuck anything, because we understand.
Right, so it's not an overnight success.
No,
you have to be
it's
patient.
not. And one thing that people do is that we need to remember, starting to take alcohol, it might not be as easy, right? But I can tell you now, when you try to say, okay, stop. I mean, as I said, I've never smoked once, never taken any form of alcohol once in my life, because of the following reasons. Started reading about all these dangers from the time I was about 8, and seeing it face to face in my environment, where I was. And I realized that, you know what, I need to understand what is it that this thing does to a human being, for a human being to behave like that.
Yeah.
How many people have been killed? I mean, coming back to this thing that you're talking about, is where after the lockdown, not after the lockdown, after the lockdown, maybe going to level 3, or I cannot remember when did they start saying, okay, alcohol can be consumed.
3, yeah.
I don't remember. But here's the thing that happened. There was a time when people were not able to consume alcohol for a couple of months, and after they opened it, almost 50 girls lost their lives. They were killed by people who consumed that
there was a
drug.
surge of femicide and gender-based violence within that period. You're absolutely right.
We are parents. We cannot always try to be in a position of being scared of telling the truth just because these people who've got so much money, they say we must not talk bad about our product because you know what, you're going to make people to stop doing this. Let those who've got so much money, who have paid all their debts, who feel that, you know what, they can get help from people like us to help them dealing with those challenges, so that they can. And those people who we know, they don't even have $100 in their account. Yet any cent they get, any money they get, the first thing they do, they go for that drug.
They go for that alcohol.
There are people who are also, having families, children in their homes. They've got no food. Any money that they get, what do they buy? They buy the drug. And please note, you need to understand, these people are in a corner. They are facing this demon. They need help. We need to be able to start now having support for them, where you're going to work the journey with them and give them constant and never-ending support, because that's how we're going to start winning the war.
Yes, because a lot of people are afraid of being judged once they have that, realize they've got this alcoholism problem, when they go to speak to someone, because some people, they get scolded, they get shamed for being an alcoholic. Even in our communities, sometimes we know somebody that we know, oh, that malume, you don't know that malume, he's probably drunk now, don't take him seriously. That kind of talk, or whether it's your aunt or your mom or your dad. Do you also have that kind of an environment where if somebody comes, they feel that it's safe for them to get the help that they need? Because sometimes when you speak to somebody who's never had alcohol like yourself, or they feel that maybe you don't understand what they're going through. Do you have recovering addicts that can also be a part of the team, that know what it's actually like to have been an alcoholic and recovered from it, and know firsthand the steps that one goes through and the challenges they face in recovering? Because there's this term that people say, falling off the wagon, where sometimes you get help, you think, okay, I'm staying sober. After 3-6 months or a year, you find yourself still, you drink again.
Yeah, that's what they call relapse.
A relapse, yes.
Yes. So Audrey, here's the thing. No one, right, will ever accept, right, they've got a problem. However, the support is there. And one thing I'd like to make the point that, okay, we let people know, we say, wise men learn from their mistakes. Right? You've heard that, right?
Yes.
But guess what? Geniuses, they learn from other people's mistakes. What is it that makes people to think that just because you even consume that product, you do not know? It's a myth. And it's what people think that they're going to tell you because they want to try to make the point, okay, like, you know what, you must not help them. Or some of them think that you cannot help them. However, it doesn't mean that because you even you haven't been a victim of that, it means you do not know.
Yes, that's why a doctor can treat somebody who's got a disease that they haven't
Definitely.
suffered from. Precisely. We have to wrap this up, Mr. Marobela. Thank you so much for speaking to us. But just, I can't help but remember that you visit the United States quite a bit. You've been there quite a bit. It's quite a historical moment that is happening there right now. Of course, when you're there, you were a student. Who's your money on between Biden and Trump?
I've been advised by my coaches.
Yes.
And my coaches are in the US, that we should do everything and anything to stay away from politics.
Oh. There I was thinking I could draw you in, but that's a diplomatic answer. I will take it. I will not push you into it, but I know after the show you'll tell me. Mr. Marobela in studio on the green couch, our health coach here at Pan-African Morning, talking to us about the dangers of alcohol and being proactive in not taking it to start with if you don't know how to handle it once you've started drinking it. Their services are there for you. Would you quickly tell us where people can, if they need help?
What people can do is that they can get hold of me on Facebook.
Yes.
Ephraim Marobela, Twitter, Ephraim Marobela, Instagram, Ephraim Marobela.
And this book here?
Ephraim Marobela.
Ephraim Marobela. Everything.
You can go to Obesity Must Fall for the book, obesitymustfall.com. You can get it. But I mean, if you're struggling, come back to Ephraim Marobela on Facebook. We'll help you.
We have him here every Wednesday anyway. For any other questions, you can always send an email to our team or in our comment section. You can ask whatever questions you want and we'll be happy to answer you. It's time for another short break. It's 7:30 a.m. Central African time. We'll take a short break on Pan-African Morning. When we come back, we continue with stories from the continent and particularly what is happening. Things are happening very fast in the United States of America with the polls. Numbers are trickling in and we'll keep you up to date with that. Just stay with us. We'll be back.